In a world where sports have stretched beyond the fabric of reality and podcasts became as common as potholes, there were two guys in Morgantown, West Virginia who desired to do something different. These two guys came up with an idea to bring real life back to the arena of sports and hopefully be somewhat entertaining along the way. These two guys are certainly no experts, and they're definitely not comedians. They just think they are. This is the Extra Medium Podcast, and here are those two guys.
And away we go. Hello and welcome everyone to the Extra Medium Sports Podcast. How did we come up with the name Extra Medium Sports Podcast? I get asked that all the time, and the answer is quite simple. We are just two plus-size guys living in an extra medium sports world. Hello everyone, I'm Justin Jackson, sports editor at the Dominion Post.
I'm Matt Amory, former WVU lineman and state champion at Morgantown High.
On the show today we have our reactions to the backyard brawl. West Virginia wins in overtime.
Let's go Mountaineers.
31-24. An interesting game. Lots of storylines. So they beat Pitt in the backyard brawl. In studio today we have Spencer Ripchick of the Dominion Post. He's a college football insider and beat writer. And in the bullpen we have Michael Griffith,
the legend,
also of the Dominion Post. He's going to talk about an interesting week of high school football and lots of things to talk about in high school football this week. Week 3 was last week. Week 4 coming up. Some big games on tap. And also, as always, the $5 challenge is very much in play. Matt, what is the $5 challenge?
The $5 challenge is our personal thing where if we can make one another break character and bust out laughing, you pay up $5. Now, it was getting pretty iffy last episode.
Got a little hairy.
It got a little hairy, unlike what I have on my head, bald. But we're up to 20 now.
Okay.
So the stakes are high.
Oh, that's a lot to think about.
That's a lot to think of. I just said steaks. Now I'm getting hungry.
There you go. We do have a sponsor for the Extra Medium Sportscast. Matt, tell the good people what's going on there.
The Extra Medium Podcast is proudly sponsored by the Erickson Alumni Center. Whether you're interested in hosting a corporate retreat, a baby shower, or a beautiful wedding reception, we take pride in making every experience a memorable one.
We are going to get right into it. West Virginia beats Pitt 31-24. They were, general consensus, they were a 7-point underdog. Some was 6.5, some was 8. But general consensus, they were a 7-point underdog going into that game, and they win it outright in overtime, 31-24. And lots of storylines, but the one I want to get into you with, Matt, right off the bat is obviously with your experience as an offensive lineman and defensive lineman, the heavy package. But you have another name for it.
I think we should, let's go out on a limb. No, hot take.
Hot take.
Let's go beefcake formation.
Beefcake formation.
Beefcake formation. I think that can catch on. Like they had the Wildcat in Miami. Beefcake formation. You heard it here first. The Extra Medium Podcast.
The beefcake formation, of course, is when 9 linemen rush out onto the field. Some of them are in their regular positions. Some are lined up as tight ends.
Can I interrupt one second? You know why they're out there? There's big guys out there to move big guys against their will. Oh, I loved hearing that quote. I'm sorry I interrupted. This 9 offensive linemen, that's a lot of meat out there.
That was Rich Rodriguez's quote after the game. So you got the 9 linemen, and then you've got running back Ty Edwards, who was another storyline from the game, who stands at 225 pounds, so he's not a little guy. And then, of course, you have the quarterback taking the shotgun snap, handing it off to the running back who's got 9 linemen in front of him. They scored 2 touchdowns off that package. And, Matt, what was just your initial reaction? First, if you're a defensive lineman and you see 9 offensive linemen running out there, what's your thought?
Well, if you're a defensive lineman, you see that, you know you're running the ball. You know that's coming right at you. You better be ready. If you're an offensive lineman and you're calling in the defensive line, they're running the ball here. Good. I'm glad you know. I'm still going to run you over and fold you up like a chair. And that's just what they did. What was I thinking? You know, bigger, faster, stronger? This was bigger, fatter, stronger. Push the pile, win the game. I mean, that was beautiful.
I'm guessing you were a fan of the package?
Huge fan of the beefcake formation. I hope to see it more.
Now, the one question I had, and I tried to find this out yesterday, and we talked about it briefly before coming on the show today. Some of those guys are eligible receivers. Rich Rod, after the game, said there are other options they have off of that package. I'm assuming Some of those options are actually throwing the ball to one of the big guys, which, if that happens, what do you get?
Well, that's always exciting because that means there's a fat man dance coming along. So if that doesn't boost morale. But, I mean, there are other options in there. You can go counter, you can go this, you can go that. But what about the eligibility of those guys? Do they have to report or what's?
Well, that's what I was trying to figure out, and I wanted to ask you about that because I tried finding that out yesterday and got a bunch of different answers. I'm assuming in that formation, there's at least three or four of those guys are eligible receivers. They didn't report as eligible receivers. Now, there might be some strategy behind that. In the NFL, you have to report, and then the referee makes the announcement to the crowd that number 75 reports as eligible. That did not happen at the West Virginia game, and I'm wondering, is the college rule different than the pro rule? Do you have any information on this?
I don't have any information off the books per se, but that's a wonderful point. What I'm thinking is just if you don't report, you're not eligible. And I mean, it kind of makes it an obvious, as we spoke, it makes it obvious you're going to run the ball, and it's like, is that going to do anything with strategy? And it really doesn't. No, I'm glad we're going to run the ball. Go ahead and call it out. We're still going to fold you up like a chair.
Ty Edwards was one of the other big storylines from the game, in the sense that it was just a week ago when Jaheim White goes down, and with his injury, they announced a couple of days later he was out for the year. He's going to have surgery or has had surgery. You kind of thought at the time that, okay, well, there goes the running game, and the running game for Rich Rod is, that's the bulk of his strategy. That's the bulk of his offense. And then along comes Ty Edwards. Played a little bit against Ohio, maybe like a few snaps. Obviously got the bulk of the action on Saturday against Pitt. 141 yards, 25 carries, I think, 3 touchdowns. That's a heck of an introduction to the West Virginia fans.
And what we said in episode 3, this is a game, the backyard brawl, where you can make a name for yourself, and that's just what Ty Edwards did. What a way to roll the momentum and going to Kansas. And
then Nico Marchiol gets benched after halftime, comes back and plays Savior in the fourth quarter. What are your thoughts?
Redemption. I'm glad you asked. Redemption. I'd love to see it. And just it does more than meets the eyes. It boosts your morale. It boosts your confidence. And when you're in a tough game like that, you can always say, next time you're in there, hey, I've been there before and I won.
Yeah, out of everyone there on the roster Saturday night, I'm guessing Nico probably felt just as good as anyone, I would imagine.
Oh, absolutely, and well-deserved.
Hey, we are going to talk more college football. We have the opening of the Big 12 football season coming up. Kansas is coming up, and we're going to talk more about Pitt. But first, just in case you were wondering where to find the Extra Medium Sports Podcast, here's where you can find it.
You can always find a link to the Extra Medium Podcast at www.dominionpost.com or find us on social media at Spotify and YouTube.
Live in the studio now, we have Spencer Ripchuk, trying to bring in old Spence. Spence, how you doing?
Doing great. Thank you for having me on again this week.
Spence, obviously we've been talking about the win over Pitt, 31-24 in overtime. The interesting thing is West Virginia trailed 24-14, midway through the fourth?
Yeah, they trailed in the fourth quarter with like 9 minutes left. They're down 10 points. They came all the way back. Won in overtime.
At that point, what are you thinking? Down 10, what are you thinking?
Well, I mean, Pitt looked really good in that fourth quarter, and then in the third quarter they kind of found out Zach Alley's defense. Eli looked like he kind of got things rolling there. They had some blown coverages, which Zach Alley's defense is like kind of known for nowadays. They play really, really well the entire game, but every once in a while they'll give up a big chunk play. So Pitt looked like they're rolling there, and then all of a sudden the defense hunkered down, and West Virginia's offense got rolling with Nico coming back in.
Spencer, I'm interested in your take on the beefcake. Is that where we're going?
Yes, beefcake formation, 9 offensive linemen.
Well, Spencer, what was your take? Does this become a thing for WVU?
Well, I kind of speculate in the offseason they'd be running a lot of tush-push with all the size that they have up on the offensive line. They have multiple guys that are 300-plus pounds. They got a lot of veterans on that offensive line coming from Power 4 schools, some FBS schools that are smaller, but have a lot of size to them, and their quarterbacks are kind of big. I mean, Nico, if you look at his legs, I think we talked about it a couple weeks ago. He's a big kid. And then Ty Edwards, he's a massive running back. I remember just before the game, I didn't know how much he was going to play. I thought it was going to be more of the Clay Ash show because he knows the offense the best. But if you looked at Ty Edwards before the game, he is just a big running back. And his arms are big, his legs are big. He's a big dude. So I think they can run that package a lot, and I think it would be successful a lot with all the size that they have on the team.
Because the tush push, Matt, you probably saw the Eagles-Chiefs game over the weekend.
Loved it.
The tush push is getting a kind of a bad name out there now. So the beefcake package might become the new thing.
We're always adjusting. You got to be ahead of the game here.
We have more pit discussion, but breaking news first. Spencer, last night, Rich Rodriguez announced that Jamori Robinson, the high anticipated defensive end pass rusher, will be playing against Kansas this weekend. And I want to kind of bring it in with this. Holstein was pressured a lot with Jamori on the sidelines. Sacked 6 times, I think.
Yeah.
Some of those sacks were pretty big. Obviously, the one in overtime sealed the win, but I mean, they were in Holstein's face pretty much the whole night.
Yeah, I mean, West Virginia's defensive line was already really good. I saw a stat yesterday. They're second in all of the FBS in sacks with like 13. So their defensive line is already really good, and you add a guy like Jamori Robinson, who had 10.5 sacks last year, was top 10 in sacks in all of NCAA with the guys in front of him who were like Abdul Carter, the kid from Marshall last year, a bunch of really good pass rushers ahead of him who are now on the NFL rosters. And adding a guy like him just brings another. I don't know how much he'll play this weekend, just because he's still really new. I mean, he couldn't be into the building until like last week, so he's still learning a lot and getting back into football shape. I'm sure he looked like he was in football shape when he was just in his jersey on Saturday, but I think they'll ease him in this weekend. But he should instantly be a big impact player for West Virginia and improve the sack numbers that are already really, really good.
I was going to say, I mean, you're right, Spence. The defensive line, they are getting pressure on the quarterback, and now you kind of throw this kid into the mix. And, Matt, just what does that do for the defensive line?
I mean, I'm on the Zach Alley bandwagon, and the defensive line, the fresher the bodies, the harder that pass rush is coming. You don't want to see fresh bodies coming in there as an offensive lineman, and especially what this guy's going to bring to the table. He kind of gives me, just from the look test and what I've seen statistically, like, dare I say, Bruce Irvin vibes.
Okay.
But, I mean, I love this guy, and here's another hot take. He's amazing on my college football ultimate team. You should see me on the PS5. The other day I took one to the house against my ops, won a championship. So I'm expecting big things out of this guy, more than just for what he does on my PS5 team. But
what's his rating on the?
Well, he's like, well.
Did you create him?
I didn't create him. Oh. This is on Ultimate Team, so it's a little like the highest player on Ultimate Team right now is an 89. It goes higher as you go on. Yes, I'm a nerd, but right now he's like an 86. But rushing off the edge, he has an 85 speed, which that's catching up to the fastest quarterbacks.
We have Big 12 coming up this week with Kansas, but let's talk a little bit more Pitt. Spencer, your take on the quarterbacks. We talked about Nico briefly coming back, playing savior, but the 5 possessions he sat out in the second half, we saw a good bit of Scotty Fox, and we saw 1 possession with Jalen Henderson. Scotty had some good moments, had some bad moments. He's a true freshman. What were your thoughts there with Scotty?
Yeah, so, I mean, Scotty is Rich's guy. I mean, he's the guy who brought in the recruiting class this year. I mean, Jalen and Max Brown and all the other transfers are also Rich's guy because he brought in all those guys through the transfer portal. But, I mean, Scotty is his raw clay that he can mold over the next couple of years. So getting him some early snaps on is really good. I mean, his first drive was really good. I mean, Justin Smith-Brown made that big breakaway screen pass. I mean, Scotty didn't do too much, but Scotty is a guy with a lot of energy. I don't know if you saw him after the touchdown where he was pushing Ty Edwards behind the pile, getting in there, and he was jumped out, started celebrating. So he's a very high-energy guy. But, I mean, the next 2 possessions, he threw rookie mistakes pretty much.
Sure.
Yeah, 2 really bad interceptions. And luckily, Zach Alley's defense came in really, really clutch there and stopped them and held them to a field goal. But yeah, Scotty is definitely a work in progress. And then Jalen Henderson, I don't really know too much about Jalen. I mean, Jalen, he's been like a pretty good runner. He's definitely faster than Nico, but as a thrower,
he's probably the fastest out of everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe the only one I could see that would rival him is Max Brown out of Charlotte. But I mean, we haven't seen anything from him yet. But yeah, Jalen just can't really throw the ball, and especially when you're down like that, you're gonna need to throw the ball. That's why Rich went to Nico again, because Nico is their best thrower.
Yeah. The running game, obviously, we mentioned Ty Edwards. Spencer, obviously, you know how much the running game is important to Rich Rod's strategy and overall, game planning. Do you feel much better now about the running game with Ty Edwards than what you did maybe like a week ago when you're watching Jaheim getting carted off?
Yeah, so Rich before the season was always looking for a big running back, and he didn't really have one. Jaheim's 190 pounds, but he's also like 5'9", 5'6". He's a very small guy, but he wanted that running back one, and Jaheim was that guy. And now that he's down and out for the season, they needed to find somebody. They had Clay Ash in there for the Ohio game after Jaheim went down, but Clay Ash is just not that big running back guy. He's more, I see him more of like not a Christian McCaffrey-esque, but like a guy who can run out the backfield and catch passes. He's not going to be that workhorse running back, and Ty Edwards is definitely that guy. So now that they have an established running back who's a big dude, can break tackles, when the offensive line doesn't have too big of a push, he can still make plays. So I think just getting Ty Edwards and establishing a running back one is really important. And like the only reason Ty Edwards wasn't playing is because he had the NCAA disputes all off season. So that's why he didn't see too much action. I think Rich Rod said last week he was banged up, so that's why he didn't play too much either. But yeah, now he's fully healthy, and when he gets a full head of steam, he's really hard to bring down.
Ty Edwards, for those who are still trying to get familiar with him, is one of the 80 transfers that came in. He was part of that NCAA lawsuit that was mostly known by Jamori Robinson, but he was also part of that. The NCAA granted him eligibility, and so he missed out on spring ball, missed out on fall camp. So he's just now getting his legs under him. So people are going to be finding out about Ty Edwards. He is a transfer from Northern Iowa, where I believe he had like 1,080 yards rushing there last year. And, like I said, he's 225 pounds. He can move. He's got a little bit of juice. And you can run what package with him?
The beefcake formation.
Say
it with your chest.
We are now going to move on. Well, actually, anything more with Pitt? Spencer, anything else jump out at you?
Can I bring up one thing real quick?
Sure, go ahead.
How about Rodney Gallagher?
Oh.
What a game. Did you say he's a Uniontown?
He's a Uniontown kid.
What are your thoughts on him, Spence?
Yeah, well, Rodney was playing for more than just West Virginia football. He was playing for his lost mother, spreading a nice awareness for that cause of, I forget the name of the cause, but he had a nice little butterfly on the back of his helmet, playing for his mother who passed away when he was really young. So that was really cool to see him have a breakout game. Yeah, Rich said he's a really athletic guy. He wanted to get him more involved. I mean, having somebody who's like that, and he played both ways sometimes last year. He's a really good guy. I mean, he played running back too sometimes, especially when they were out of running backs at the slot, or out of running backs in the summertime because they had injuries and stuff. But yeah, Rodney looked really good. I mean, he's more of a out by the numbers kind of guy, catching those passes out of the slot. But yeah, I think over the next couple of weeks he could emerge into a bigger role. I mean, Cam Vaughn is going to be your number one guy always. I mean, Cam Vaughn, didn't have that big of a game, but he drew a big pass interference penalty down at the goal line when they had like 11 seconds left. He's a guy with a lot of moxie, so they'll look his way. Preston Fox is a little bit banged up, but they looked his way a couple of times, and the tight ends were used quite a bit on that last drive.
Grayson Barnes.
Yeah, Grayson Barnes, he was used, so Nico was looking for him quite a bit after Cam was kind of like, they realized that Nico wanted to go to Cam. So, yeah, there's a lot of good receivers, Rodney being one of them that came from Saturday's game.
Ooh, he makes one man miss. He catches the ball, make one man miss. Oh, sorry, I did not mean to.
Well, no, I was going to say now, as far as WV injuries, we talk about Jaheim White. Jaden Bray, the receiver, also was out for the year, injured from the Ohio game. Did Gallagher didn't take his spot though, did he?
No, so Gallagher's going to play your slot position.
Okay.
Preston Fox, I think, started in place of Jaden Bray. He got the start. There's some other guys. Jeff Weimer is another guy. He was one of the NCAA guys who had issues as well, coming from Idaho State. He was a really good guy that I was impressed with that they added in the transfer portal. He had over 1,000 yards. He was really good. I don't know how many catches he had on Saturday, but yeah, he'll be a guy that they'll look forward to. But he's also still learning the offense, still getting back into football shape since he missed most of the summer. But yeah, Jaden went down, but a lot of receivers picked up the slack. And like I said, Cam Vaughn's going to be the guy.
To close out the Pitt discussion here, last week, Matt, you made the point that what was the website that predicted no wins for West Virginia?
Oh, the ESPN football poll index.
The power index?
The power index or whatever.
What say the power index now after the Pitt win?
I mean,
did you get an update?
I didn't even look at it. Why even look at it? I didn't get an update. I do think it has Kansas winning for the next game, but whatever. It's over because they had WVU losing out.
Right.
And we proved them wrong immediately. So whatever for that index.
So Spencer, to close out the Pitt game, with the win, overtime, big win. Obviously, it was a great atmosphere that night. Does it change the outlook of the rest of the season, do you think?
Well, I don't know. I think that their schedule is still really tough. I think all three of the teams that are ranked in the AP Top 25, they have on their schedule, all the Big 12 teams. They have Utah coming up next week. They have Arizona State. They have Texas Tech. I mean, they have a lot of really good teams still left on their schedule. But I think it showed that this team won't go down without a fight. I mean, they might be down a score or two, but they'll always fight back and make it a close game. I mean, even in the Ohio game, even though I didn't think West Virginia was going to win that game at all looking while they're playing, but they had a chance to win. So I think going forward this season, no matter how big the favorite is that they're going to play, that they can always give them a chance to make it a close game and maybe squeak out a win like they did on Saturday.
So West Virginia opens up Big 12 play this week, going to Kansas, Lawrence, Kansas. Beautiful downtown Lawrence. West Virginia is going to face the Kansas Jayhawks, quarterbacked by Jalen Daniels. This is West Virginia's Big 12 opener, but we've already had 2 Big 12 games so far this season. Iowa State, back in week 0 in Dublin, you might remember, defeated K-State 24-21. And then last week, Houston held off Colorado 36-20. And this is kind of a light week in Big 12 week. There are only 3 true Big 12 games this week. The big one being Texas Tech at Utah. That is 17 versus 16. That's your noon game on Fox. And, well, actually, no. Yeah, that's the noon game on Fox, but it's 10 a.m. in Salt Lake City.
The 10 a.m. West Coast starts are the best.
That's going to be they're going to be real happy about that, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then Devin Dampier, Utah quarterback. I'm going to put Spencer on the spot here because Devin Dampier just might be Spencer's favorite for the Heisman. What say you, Spencer?
Yeah, I think he's up there. I think John Mateer out of Oklahoma, I think, is the favorite right now. He's looked really good, winning over Michigan a couple weeks ago. But yeah, I think Devin Dampier is probably right now the best quarterback in the Big 12. Just looking at it, I mean, I have been not too high on Utah recently. I didn't like their win over UCLA, and now that's what everyone was like, oh, they won by like 30 over UCLA. But then you look at UCLA, and now they're out with a head coach after starting 0-3. So they're a bad football team. But yeah, I think Utah, that game is really interesting. I think Texas Tech being on the road it's going to struggle in that environment. I know I've been to the Utah Stadium. The Utes get active when they have a home game. So I think Utah should win that game, but I think it'll be closer than a lot of people think. And if it's not close, then maybe Utah is the favorite to win the Big 12.
Dampier is a transfer this year from New Mexico. So far this season, he's got 628 yards passing, 7 touchdowns. He's also a runner, 198 yards, and 1 touchdown on the ground. Other Big 12 games of note this week, Arizona State is at Baylor. That's your 7:30 p.m. game on Fox. Other interesting non-conference Big 12 action, SMU is at TCU. North Carolina and Bill Belichick, they traveled to UCF. The late game Saturday, ESPN. Wyoming at Colorado. That's a 10:15, 10:30 game. Spence, you staying up to watch that one?
I don't know. I think Colorado, after last week's performance, isn't worth really staying up, especially when they play like Wyoming. I mean,
you're not staying up for primetime.
No, I don't know. Primetime hasn't looked too primetime so far, even though he's got a lot of primetime games. But I think they should. I mean, Wyoming is a good team for their division, but I mean, Colorado is a FBS Power 4 school, so I think they should win that. But I think that one could be closer than a lot of people think, too.
All right, so let's talk West Virginia, Kansas, Big 12 football. Obviously, the big name, Jalen Daniels. Everyone remembers the show that he put on here a couple of years ago and what I think was an overtime win for Kansas. Had a heck of a year in 2023, led the Jayhawks to one of their best seasons since playing in the Orange Bowl like 10 or 15 years ago. He obviously is the definition of a dual-threat quarterback. In the past, they had Devin Neal around him. Now
Yes.
Neal's moved on. Jalen Daniels, I think it's his 8th year in college. He's collecting a Social Security check, but he's obviously very talented. Is he the number one focus going into this week?
Yeah, I think definitely. I think their offense is one of the best in the Big 12. I think I was looking at it yesterday. They've put up 30 points in all 3 of their games this year, so they probably have one of the better high-powered offenses in the Big 12. I mean, but their defense is another thing you have to look at because their defense isn't as good as its offense. I mean, they allowed 30-plus points to Missouri a couple weeks ago. Granted, Missouri is a really good football team. They have a really good quarterback. But, yeah, Jalen Daniels is going to be the guy you want to look at. They got a lot of good receivers, too. I think they have 3 over 100 yards already. So they get out there and they sling the ball. Their running game isn't as big. They're going to use the running back they have and Jalen Daniels to use most of that, take over most of the run game, but they're going to be heaving the ball downfield. And when Jalen doesn't have anything, he's going to take off running, kind of like Parker Navarro did a couple weeks ago.
So I'm thinking, here's what I'm picturing. Jalen's bootlegging, right? He's scrambling out to the right. He's got Jamoria Robinson chasing him down from behind. Does Jamoria Robinson catch Jalen Daniels?
I don't know. I haven't seen too much. Watched a lot of film on Jamoria Robinson in the summertime, but I don't know what his speed is going to be like now that he's been removed from football for 8 months now. I mean, he played in December, and then he's going to play this Saturday, but that's a long time without playing football, and he wasn't able to practice this summer, like I said, because his NCAA waiver wasn't passed, and he wasn't academically eligible. Last week, Zach Elliott kind of slipped and said that he was practicing on Tuesday, but then he didn't play at all on Saturday, so we'll have to see. Hopefully, maybe he'll be in shape to chase down Jalen Daniels, but it's going to be tough.
You got to be in good shape to chase down
Jalen Daniels.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And this team, this Kansas team, they lost to Missouri, beat Wagner, beat Fresno State pretty easy. They're battle tested, but WVU's battle tested. I'm excited to see us get on the road. How's the offense going to bounce back? Do we know what we're going to see from the quarterbacks? Or we're starting with Nico, obviously, but any word if we're getting Scotty in there, or is it are we starting Ty at running back?
Yeah, you'd think that after Saturday's performance, Nico would be the guy, but I mean, we haven't really asked Rich yet, and he didn't really reveal too much on his radio show. But I mean, Nico's going to start, obviously, but I think if Nico starts to struggle, I don't think Rich is going to hesitate from mixing in the other guys, trying to get a spark, create some more looks, create more threats, try to change up the defense a little bit, and then maybe sub Nico back in there. But, yeah, especially if they get down really early. I mean, Kansas is going to come out swinging. So if they come out swinging and West Virginia's in a hole already, Rich is not going to hesitate to switch it up. But, yeah, I think Ty Edwards will march out there as running back 1 after his performance. I mean, that was what Rich was looking for all offseason, was a big, powerful runner. He tried to add some off the waiver wire, as he called it, and Jack and Divine. Divine wasn't that big. He was going to be a work-in-progress kind of guy. But, yeah, Ty Edwards is what he was been looking for.
WVU travels to Memorial Stadium, the newly renovated Memorial Stadium. Have you seen it since?
I've seen it, and if you haven't seen it, check out the game. Just to check out what that stadium looks like.
Well, the amazing thing with the renovations is they actually have fans in the stand,
which is new for football, not just the basketball school.
West Virginia is traveling to Kansas for the first time since 2021, and WVU all-time 11-2 against the Jayhawks. Spence, give me a prediction. What do you think?
I mean, I predicted I haven't been too good in my week-by-week predictions.
He's 1-2, by the way.
Yeah, I'm 1-2. I mean, I predicted them to beat Ohio and then lose to Pitt. It was my prediction was looking pretty good for the Pitt game, but then West Virginia, of course, came back. But I did predict in my season prediction before the season started, I predicted them to win the Pitt game and then be hungover like most people, West Virginia fans were, and lose the Kansas game. So I'm gonna stick with that. I mean, maybe I'm a good luck charm for West Virginia fans. Every single time I pick against West Virginia, they seem to do the opposite. So I predict. I don't know. I just don't think the offense that we've seen from West Virginia, especially on the road. So I mean, they've only had one road game, but especially on the road so far, that I don't think they could keep up with Kansas's offense. I mean, Zach Alley's defense is gonna try to hold Jalen Daniels at bay, but I just don't think it'll be enough to beat Kansas on the road.
A lot of guys have tried to hold Jalen Daniels at bay. Some have been successful, some not. I mean, he's not Superman, but he is extremely talented. He's a quarterback. He's got the ball in his hands every play, and you don't know what he's going to do. He's just one of those guys you pay to see.
Yeah, and, in Zach Alley we trust. I'm saying I got WVU here winning this game.
You got it? You got a score?
Yeah. Do I got a score for you?
You gonna hold on?
Let's see. Wait, let me see here. Let me see. You think I would have something loaded for the? Let's go 24-17 WVU.
24-17?
I'm excited. I'm excited to see a great like a breakout game by Nico, and some consistency and establishing some identities, throwing the ball, and I'm excited to see my boy Gallagher out there and see what Ty can do. The run game travels well.
Sure.
And they can have a beautiful stadium. They can have whatever they want. But what you going to do when the beefcake formation, comes after you?
You always got me with that beefcake one there. Okay. So, Spence, Pitt game. You go back up to Wright. What time did you end up getting home after the Pitt game that night? Any interesting stories on the way home or anything?
There was a lot of police officers out, I could say. I mean, and that was at like 9:30. I was driving around, and I mean, there was still traffic out of the media lot, which I was impressed with. Some people didn't care about the traffic. They were just sitting in their lawn chairs at 9:30 at night, sun down, game over like an hour ago, and they were still partying along after the win. I didn't see any couches burnt.
No, okay.
I did see. I mean, I don't want to call out Jaheim White, but he was definitely taking in the couch burning, even from his couch where he watched the game. He posted on social media, but yeah, not a lot of couch burnings. I didn't get done until like 10:30 with all my writing and stuff, and then had to watch all the college games just to stay up to date with what's going on, and watch the LSU Florida game, which is kind of a sloppy game on both sides, and then the Texas A&M Notre Dame game was a real good nail biter.
Obviously, you've covered some rivalry games in the past with Penn State. Your overall impressions of the backyard brawl doesn't start back up until
2029.
2029. So you got 4 years here. Will you be anticipating watching it again? Just what were your overall feel of the rivalry?
Yeah, when I wasn't covering West Virginia football, I always, in the back of my like watching game day and stuff, they always talked about the backyard brawl, and everyone's been talking about it all off season. That's as long as they beat Pitt, they can go 1-11 or whatever. As long as they beat Pitt, so I definitely lived up to my expectations. It was looking kind of rough there for a little bit, but I mean, it was one of the great games I've ever watched in my entire life. And I went to the Super Bowl where Kansas City Chiefs came back in overtime and beat the 49ers. I saw Penn State in the Rose Bowl. I've been to multiple whiteout games. And that was one of the best atmospheres in college football with the backyard brawl on Saturday.
Good.
So it was a really good game to cover.
All right. Hey, we want to thank Spencer for his time. I know he's got some work to do. We can't keep him here all day.
He's a busy man.
We're going to thank Spencer, and we are going to come back. And but first, we got to pay some bills.
A big shout out to our sponsor, the Erickson Alumni Center. Provide your guests with an elegant experience utilizing our state-of-the-art conference technology and catering from our in-house executive chef.
This brings us to our favorite segment of the show. It's one of my favorite segments. I hope it is yours as well. We call it What Caught Matt's Eye.
Matt's eye, Matt's eye, Matt's eye. Let us know what is caught Matt's eye.
What caught Matt's eye? Great segment. Love it.
Well, you should. It's yours.
Well, I mean, I do. It's arguably the best segment of the show. I don't know. We're not
just throwing that out. Is that a hot take?
That's a hot take.
Okay.
That might be a bad hot take. But hey, let's go to the press conference, the post-game press conference of the Backyard Brawl, where Coach Rod does a top-tier trolling job of Pitt's players dropping like flies throughout the whole game, especially at the end. A reporter asked, did some of the tactics Pitt used benefit WVU? And you go, Coach Rod, one thing you need to know
in his own little way.
In his own little way, he said, "You mean when they're laying down getting hurt? Do they got anybody left to play next week? You talk about bad luck. You ever seen so much bad luck that they'd have to so many guys get hurt that often? I'm genuinely concerned for their well-being." And he said, it pissed me off. Of course, it didn't help me, and I think it's just an A+ top tier troll. And Coach Rod,
he let him have it.
And it pisses him off so bad, anything messing with the tempo, and it's deeper just because it's in the way. The entire offense is based around tempo and timing. It's spot the ball and go. Even as a young center, I learned when I have a bad snap, it's even messing up the receivers, the quarterback getting the ball out.
Yeah.
So these guys dropping like flies. I mean, every other play it seemed like.
It was the same guy.
Almost. Was it the same guy?
I forget his number and name right now, but he was a defensive lineman, big, kind of a tall. Maybe he wasn't a defensive lineman. But he went down probably the bulk of the time.
From watching it from my perspective, and thank you for the correction, but it just seemed like their entire team was dropping, and that no-huddle offense, and when you're that deep in the game, it's tough to even move. When you're out of breath, you got your heels digging into the ground, and then you come out with my favorite. He's
going deep into the notes there. Here we go.
The beefcake formation.
Now, here's the thing. Now, here's what I pictured, right? So, obviously at some point, they're faking the injuries. I'm picturing on the Pitt sideline, they got a healer or a priest over there. He's giving them the cross and the smoke. And they had some emergency some great healers over there.
They had some great they're reviving people from the dead over there. But I mean, that team was dropping like flies.
Because two plays later, they're right back.
They're right back in, and then they're dropping again. And I can see why Coach Rod would not be happy with that. Wonderful top tier trolling job on them. I mean. And it also just made it funnier seeing Pitt's quarterback come out looking like he just got into a fight with Mike Tyson for 10 rounds. He had his nose stuffed.
Now, the faking injuries has been around for a while. In fact, I think it was 2 years ago, the SEC came out with rules against it, that teams would be penalized, I think by fines maybe, for faking injuries to try to slow down tempo.
Did you hear what Coach Rod proposed in his meeting, saying, well, if they're really genuinely concerned about safety, should it be more than one play? Should it be the series?
Or the
should
quarter,
it be the game?
Or the half?
So that's debatable. I mean, great questions. Coach Rod is a smart man. He brings up valid points there. But gee whiz, you just talk about beating a team down. It looked like Pitt was collapsing at the knees. I love to see it.
Now, I'll tell you what was interesting to me with the way he reacted to that. And nothing against the way I think he was justified in saying everything he did. I'm wondering if he really made that big of a point, though, because it was Pitt. If it was Arizona State, or if it was, Colorado, or, somebody who's not that big. Was it because it was Pitt that he makes the big issue out of it?
I think in the moment, if the same moment would come up, regardless of the team, I think he can make that point and it have an impact. I mean, of course, with Pitt, everything is just.
Well, would he have as much fun saying it, though?
Oh, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. No way. I mean, remember, too, what happened the last time he played Pitt? The game's that game was personal. You got that off your chest. Let's start fresh. Not only that, the guys in the locker room, they know we can fight. We have just got into a fist fight with this team, and we came out on top. We were the more physical. We were the beefcake. We pushed around those guys. And next time this happens, whether it's Kansas or Utah, whoever it might be, we're battle tested for it. So it was just so many wins. Great night for West Virginia.
It's now time to talk a little high school football, and with that, we're going to bring Michael Griffith out of the bullpen. He's live here in the studio with us. Michael, of course, is the high school beat reporter from the Dominion Post. And before we start talking high school football, let's do a quick Week 3 recap. In week 3, we have Morgantown High defeated Hedgesville 52-7. University High defeated Buckhannon Upshur. They went on the road, won 62-12. Clay Battelle had a home game, defeated Valley Wetzel 48-6. And Preston traveled to Fairmont Senior last week and lost 63-13. And Clay Battelle's win, the CB's defense, Matt, forced 8 turnovers.
Wow.
Picked off 6 passes. 2 of those were pick sixes. That's a pretty good night for the defense.
How about them CBs?
There you go. And, Michael, we had a huge upset. Upset alert. Musselman defeated Wheeling Park 21-14. What the heck happened to Wheeling Park?
Yeah, I don't know. I tried looking for this game and trying to watch the game back, but I couldn't find it anywhere. But, I mean, the big thing that stood out to me, the stats that I found were, Wheeling Park's running back, Brendan Wack, he got his. He ran for 250 yards. He's up to 750 this year through 3 games, but they only threw for 90 yards. So that sounds like the story of the game right there. The final score is 21-14. Park put 33 points up on Spring Mills last week or a week ago, 10 days ago. So, that's a game that just sounds like Musselman showed up to play, and they didn't care who was on the other side of the field. They just put some helmets on helmets, I guess you could say.
A quick look at what's coming up this week for week 4. All of these games are on Friday night. Morgantown travels to Connellsville, Pennsylvania, just up north of Uniontown, in case you were wondering. That's a 7 o'clock game. Robert C. Byrd is at Preston High. That's a 7 o'clock game on Friday. University High, we'll see what stage Wheeling Park is in.
Right.
They travel to the island, 7 o'clock game on Friday night. That game is at Wheeling Island Stadium, which, of course, is known, Matt, you were there many times. State high school finals were held there from 94 to 2023. The stadium is also very famous for being right across the street from a gentleman's club, shall we say, and the casino. And, Matt, I've got to wonder, all the games you played at Wheeling Island Stadium, was there – did you ever sneak out across the street there for an
I try to get out at halftime. Coach McNew caught me. I just wanted to get some wings at the Gentleman's Club.
Sure.
I just wanted to get some wings. I heard they had good wings. Tried to go at halftime. Coach McNew and Coach Lucci caught me. They said, "Get back here, man." Hey, I do have PTSD about that Wheeling Island Stadium.
I was just going to ask you, what's your thoughts about,
there's a guy named J.R. House.
Oh, God, here we go.
There was just this national I don't know.
You played a lot of games and won there as well.
Yeah, there were those two. What a great place to play. Wonderful place to play. You better buckle your chin strap. But Wheeling Park, after that loss, hey, turn around next week. Yeah. You got University, baby. You better be ready.
Yeah.
You better be ready.
You always in poker players, they talk about they always remember the hands they lose rather than the hands they win. Is that how it is with you? You remember Wheeling Island Stadium for the J.R. House game as opposed to the games you won there?
Oh, yeah, 100%. That's how it is. That doesn't even inspire me to this day. When I need to get up and get to work, I'll be like, oh, I know J.R. House is training somewhere.
Also in week 4, Clay Battelle is on its bye week this week. The CBs return to action 2 weeks from now, or 2 weeks from Friday, I guess. They are on the road at Gilmer County, which is going to set up a special new section here. Matt has no idea what I'm about to do.
Yeah, what's going on here, man?
For those who obviously they can't see us, we're audio only on the podcast. I'm holding up a crisp $1 bill. This is the new, Matt knows nothing about this, the $1 curveball challenge. Clay Battelle is at Gilmer County in 2 weeks. Can you name Gilmer County's mascot?
Gilmer County?
For $1 right here.
Now, can I get a hint?
No hints. It's $1.
Gilmer County. I know.
I'm keeping. They are. Remember the Titans. The Titans of
Gilmer County Titans. And my apologies to Gilmer County out there. Hey, I will not forget that in the future. And shout out to the segment. Was that
that's the $1 curveball challenge?
That was more of a slider.
Brought to you by my wallet. Yeah. I'm going to try to get you with that every week.
That was good.
Now, if I would have asked you Polka's mascot, you would have
polka dots, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Polka dots.
So on the week here coming up, Connellsville is 1-3. They lost to Spring Mills last week, 52-0. So obviously Spring Mills rebounded well from
Yes.
that loss to Wheeling Park. Wheeling Park is 2-1. We mentioned the loss to Musselman, and of course they beat Spring Mills 2 weeks ago. And Robert C. Byrd on the season is 1-2. They fell to Kaiser last week, 42-20. Michael, so much to talk about high school sports. Kind of things went as expected in week 3, but just your initial thoughts. Who stood out?
Yeah, kind of the second week in a row where the results were kind of what we saw happening. Mon County's now 8-1 on the season for football, which we talked about last week being a big deal. I want to talk about Morgantown High first. They're really starting to show themselves as one of the top teams in the state in Quad A. Maddox Twig is getting a lot of conversation now as one of the top players, front runner for the Kennedy Award. I think so far he's up to 850 yards through the air, 11 touchdowns. Last week he 12 for 16, 210 yards, 3 touchdowns against Hedgesville. The Mohegans are looking really good. Their defense have only allowed 21 points through 3 games. Their scoring margin right now is 134-21 offensive defense. It's incredible. So yeah, I'm really curious. After this Connellsville game, they're going to have Spring Mills at home,
Right.
which is going to be a huge matchup. Really excited for that one. Obviously, you don't want to look past any team, but that one is one that they have had circled from last year when they lost in the playoffs.
Things are about
right?
to get real.
So yeah, I'm really excited to see them.
It's a gauntlet they have coming up.
Yeah.
It is.
Oh, yeah,
it
we're
is.
going to find out.
Yeah, and with Morgantown, really, their defense is really impressing me up front. They're getting a lot of penetration in the backfield. Their linebacking core of Reese Wells, Brooks King, and Kane Williams are just a great trio. And Reese is the only senior. Brooks is a sophomore. Kane Williams is a transfer junior that came in from Allegheny. His family moved down here this summer. So, man, Brooks he had a fumble recovery for a touchdown last week. Only a sophomore. It's his first season playing varsity. His dad played at WVU. He's a coach on the team, Adam King. So
Shout out to Coach King.
Shout out to Coach
That's
King,
my dude.
yeah, and he's looking like he could be just as good of a player as his dad was. So
The gauntlet of the schedule that we were speaking of. So Morgantown in 2 weeks they will play Spring Mills here in Morgantown, and then do they go to the island or does Park come here?
yes, they go to Wheeling Park.
And then Martinsburg comes here?
Martinsburg. No. Morgantown goes to Martinsburg.
So they're on the road 2 weeks in a row after.
yes,
this.
I think
So-
that Park
so-
game's at home. I need
Okay.
on the road. I need to double check that.
But in any
definitely to
sense-
Martinsburg.
In any sense, it's Spring Mills,
hmm
Wheeling Park, Martinsburg, back to back to back.
And then you got University coming up at the
Yeah.
end of for the Mohawk Bowl and Halloween too.
Mohawk Bowl season.
So definitely a
Don't get
loaded
Matt started
schedule.
on the Mohawk. Don't get Matt started on the Mohawk. It's too early for the Mohawk. Too early.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, they look impressive. And speaking of the Hawks, they're 3-0 as well. 1 win away from matching their total from last season, and they'll have to really earn it this week when they go against Wheeling Park, coming off a loss, like we said.
That's going to be an angry Wheeling Park team.
Oh yeah, that's going to be a game that everybody's going to want to get eyes on for sure.
So you mentioned Maddox Twig, Michael, and that he might be one of the front runners. Obviously, the season hasn't hit the midway point yet,
Right.
but one of those early front runners for the Kennedy Award. A little bit of trivia for you. The kid's obviously 15. He's a sophomore. Can you name the last time this is going to be more PTSD for Matt?
Oh, that's
the
great.
last sophomore
Oh wow.
to win the Kennedy Award in the state of West Virginia.
Oh, so I thought you were going to ask me the last Morgantown player, and I think I know who that was.
No, that
but-
one's too easy.
Yeah,
that one's too easy.
the last sophomore to win the Kennedy Award in West Virginia.
Might be the only sophomore.
Wow.
I'm not 100% sure on that, but
Do I get a hint?
well, we've talked about him here earlier in the show.
Oh, okay. J.R. House, then I'm going to guess.
1996, the last sophomore. It's 29 years ago, Matt.
Wow.
Can you believe that?
Where has time gone? That hurts.
What a period, though, at that time. You had J.R. House in 1996, wins it as a sophomore. Chris Schur from
Chris
Morgantown
Schur.
High
Shout out to
wins
Chris.
it the next year. And then the following year, J.R. House and Quincy Wilson ties in what was a magical season in 1998. So
Wow.
J.R. House out there throwing no-look passes.
House won 2, kind of, one, took a break, then won another one. And then, of course, in 98, you had all 3 guys. You
Yep.
had Quincy, you had JR, and Chris Schur was trying to go back-to-back and finished, I guess, second or third, and however you want to say it. But What a year that 1998.
Oh yeah. Wow. I mean, those are household names.
Mm-hmm.
So, Michael, we get back here to week 4, Connellsville, Robert C. Byrd. I'm obviously University High, Wheeling Park. That's probably the game to watch, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, Connellsville took a bad loss to Spring Mills last week, 52-0. So I expect Morgantown to go up there and take care of business like they've done, and probably really work on making sure that they do everything right this game, because they know the next month is going to be an absolute gauntlet. So they're going to want to use Friday to make sure everything is right, and when they go into the film session next week, that they can have the minimal amount of mistakes as possible. But yeah, Preston, this is going to be their first game at home this season.
That's right.
They've been
Home
on the road.
opener.
They've been on the road for the first 3 weeks. They traveled all the way to Romney, and they came down to Marion County for the last 2 weeks and took some lashings. So they'll be excited to get home. They always have a great atmosphere to play there in Kingwood. Good little place to watch football. I'll be out there on Friday. So Robert C. Byrd's not a bad team. They got some players from Lincoln, right? They consolidated this year, so they'll have a few more extra players, kind of like we've been talking about CB with 100. Maybe some impact players, we'll see. And Preston's going to have to bear down. Their defense really needs to find their identity. And I also think a big thing for them will be someone else kind of breaking out along with Slayton Manko. I mean, he's obviously doing all he can as a quarterback, taking a lot of hits, ball in his hands a lot. But their offense really needs another player to emerge, if you will. And they definitely have the people that can. They just need to find a way to get that done, I think.
If University High goes to the stadium or goes to the island this weekend, and if they can stay out of the casino and the gentleman's club, so to speak.
Which is harder than it sounds.
Right.
That's a battle.
If they go to the island and beat Wheeling Park, are we saying University High is a legit contender?
Yeah, it's a good thing they're all juniors. They can't go in the casino yet. No.
Oh, anyone can go into the casino.
That's fair. No,
I mean, you can walk in, go get a hamburger.
Yeah, trying to get some wings, man.
Sure.
No, you're right. I think this game is going to be one where I think University just has to limit the chunk plays. If you look at, they have a really good secondary. Hayden George is one of their best receivers. He plays secondary. Brody Kaler's back there playing secondary. Marcus Kaniska has 3 interceptions as a linebacker. They can cover the pass, and Wheeling Park only had 90 passing yards against Musselman in that game. Brennan Wack, their running back, like we said, has gone for 250 every single week so far. If you can limit his chunk plays, he's going to get his, like we said. He's probably going to run for 125 to 150 yards and score a touchdown or two. But if he doesn't run for 250 yards and score 4 touchdowns, then maybe you win by a couple, or your defense gives you that chance, because your offense can score points as well. So that's what I'm looking for, is really just for University to limit the big plays. Don't let Brennan Wack break out on these 80 to 75 whatever yard runs, past midfield or anything like that. Just limit him. Let him be normal, I guess you could say, whatever. And then
make your plays.
Yeah,
when there's a tackle you need to make your open field tackles, like you said.
But you're right. If they bring this win home, I mean, it's going to really build their momentum for the back half of the schedule.
And then they can celebrate in the casino, right? They Harrison Helbig, kind of an interesting story, was not the starting quarterback last year at the beginning of the season. Became the starter kind of midway through the season through injuries, and then I think he got hurt himself. Gets kind of has a little bit of a quarterback competition going into this year. Wins that battle, so he's been the starter since the beginning of the year. Starting to come into his own. What's your take on Harrison? What's his? Is he closer to the ceiling than the floor? What do you see there with Harrison and how he's come develop?
Yeah, I think his floor and his ceiling are both rising every single week, to be honest. And one thing that Snyder talked about was him being able to run a little bit of a tempo offense.
Yeah.
And in high school, I mean, you probably see that at the quad A level, the highest levels, but not a lot of quarterbacks in high school can be super successful running a tempo offense, right? Communication-wise and whatever you want to say, but they've been able to do it successfully. He's scored on the ground a little bit. Harrison's a tall kid. He's like a gazelle running on the field. His legs are longer than his torso. It's amazing to watch. So he's scored 3 rushing touchdowns already. He's second in carries on their team as well. So, yeah, I think it's exciting to see a guy who, had his season taken away a little bit last year come back and really play well the first 3 weeks. I think he's got a 64% completion rate so far, thrown 4 touchdowns. Last week he was 16 for 21 with 250 yards, 3 touchdowns, and added 1 on the ground. So another thing that stood out to me is I wanted to mention, he and Hayden George are becoming one of the more dangerous quarterback receiver duos in the state right now. Harrison has completed 45 passes this year, and 20 of them have gone to Hayden. So
you got a double team him.
You got some all-state safe hands right there on the outside for you, and that's just going to give Harrison even more confidence.
Well, he's also got Glenn Brown out there,
and Kayla Lewis,
and KK Lewis.
Brody can catch the ball. I mean, everybody.
So I mean, they have athletes out on the perimeter, which that's always been kind of the book on universities. They have those athletes on the outside, so that's probably why you can't go and just double team Hayden George.
Yeah,
yeah. No, you're right, and they're kind of like Morgantown. The back half of their schedule is going to be loaded. You know, they'll play I think they play Fairmont Senior. They'll play, which is obviously a good AAA team. They're going to play Wheeling Park this week. They'll have Morgantown in the Mohawk Bowl. So
no
University.
Mohawk Bowl,
baby. No Mohawk Bowl.
But
Too early.
Morgantown too and let's just talk running game. Isaiah Thompson.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, just getting weapons, and we're going to need him later in the year.
He averaged 10 yards a carry the other night.
What are your thoughts on him? Do you think he can be a?
Oh, absolutely. He was kind of that guy in waiting last year. You know, they had A.J. Thomas, who was in one of the all-time running backs at Morgantown when it's all said and done, I think, and he really waited his turn. I actually asked Beiser about him after the game the other night. Just a really great kid who does everything right, everything that they ask him to in Beiser's, according to Sean Beiser. So yeah, just one of those guys that seems to get better every single game, every single rep almost. I think one thing that Isaiah has improved a lot is his vision. He kind of just used to be one of those, straight downhill runners, kind of, or at the line runners, you could say. But this year he really seems to be able to find the holes and hit them quicker and get upfield a lot faster, I feel like. So,
for those who are not familiar with the logistics, and certainly we're not familiar with the logistics, we tape this show on Tuesday. It airs every Thursday. But the big thing being Tuesday is the SSAC playoff rankings come out this week. Now, they haven't, as of the taping, they haven't come out quite yet. I checked this morning, so I'm guessing they come out in the afternoon. But it's the first week of the high school playoff rankings. And, Matt, what does that mean for a player? I mean, I'm sure you probably checked them out back in the day, right?
Yeah, we checked them out. It was just cool to see. Especially what you have coming up in the future schedule, where your competition sits. But it's really just next week. It's cool to see. We don't really look too deep into it. But, again, it's just another fun thing to add.
Well, what if your team's number one? Does that not bring a certain significance, sense of pride if your team is number one?
No. We keep it humble.
Oh, come on.
We keep it humble. This hasn't been made public. But
okay.
So we played RCB one year, and this is kind of when this was in the playoffs. And this is when the message boards were like coming up and all this stuff. So my buddy Eric and we posed as RCB players, and we talked
on the message board.
And we talked all this trash on Morgantown High, not thinking anything of it, but we were trying to get the boys going. Number one means nothing. We need to show up. We need to find a way to spark the fire. And we came into the game, and Coach McNew had hung all that stuff up in the locker room. We were like, oh, my gosh, what have we done? But, yeah, that was us.
He didn't know it was you?
No, absolutely not. I wouldn't tell him either.
What'd you put your name? Did you come up with a fancy name?
It's like RCB Football Player 1.
Okay, so not very fancy.
No, not very fancy.
Right. Well, the reason why I bring up the playoffs, because I always thought it was very interesting to see who's ranked where, and they'll come out later today. And Michael, it takes a lot of math to kind of figure all that out, especially when it comes to the bonus points and stuff. Right. But are you expecting any kind of surprises when the playoff rankings come out during the first week?
Not for our area. Like we said, I think the last 2 weeks have been pretty chalk for us. Morgantown and University should both be in the top 8, which is a home game for the first round, right? Clay Battelle could also be up there too. Possibly, I know Single A has some of the top-heavy teams as well.
Right.
Clay Battelle will have an opportunity to seal that. Their last 4 games of the season are all at home.
Oh, nice.
So that'll be good for them. But yeah, Surprises, though,
Martinsburg,
yeah, I
1
was
and
gonna
2.
think,
They're not going to be where they usually are, right?
Yeah, I mean, that one of those losses is Huntington.
And the other was to the Steelers.
Yeah, the Steelers scout team apparently had to come
Right.
out
They're
and
in New
play a
Jersey.
game. But yeah,
Steelers
so
of New Jersey.
surprises, not really. I mean, I'm curious to see what that win does for Musselman.
Sure.
Maybe that'll bump them up into
Yeah.
a spot. I mean, it's really curious. I mean, like I said before the season, it's really hard to really point one team and on paper and say these guys are going to be the winners at the end of the season. So
Last week we had Tim Lindsay on the show, friend of the show.
Friend of the show, man. Shout out to Tim.
2 friends of the show, pride of Bridgeport. When you're sitting there and you're talking to him and you're interviewing him, and then you always think of something afterwards.
Of course. Oh, yeah.
I wish I would have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, with him being, a former Bridgeport standout, when the rankings come out later, I'm sure Bridgeport's going to be number 1 in AAA. I would assume. They've obviously been in that position many times. There are a lot of really good, once you have like dynasties built up in certain sports, there are great streaks. I wanted to ask Tim because he is from Bridgeport, and you probably know this, and Michael may know it. And I'm not sure what the exact number is, but I think it's something like over the course of the last 50 or 60 years. I mean, we're talking generations here.
Mhm.
I think Bridgeport has had like 1 losing season.
wow.
And I wish I would have asked Tim about that last week
Wow.
from Bridgeport. They got to have some kind of secret factory. or
Yeah,
something.
what's going on?
Because you would think over the course of that many years,
There'd be some kind of slump, or some
Right.
kind of
Right. There'd be a
multiple
couple
losing
stinkers
seasons.
in there, right?
It's just
Right.
a way of the world.
but Bridgeport every year, they're in the hunt.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, there are a lot of great dynasties and stories across different sports in the state. I think Bridgeport is one of the more fascinating ones.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great take.
Yeah,
honestly,
that's
I think.
a great
I mean, we were talking about.
That's my hot take.
I love it.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
we
good.
were
That's a good take right there.
we were talking about 7 years. We were talking girls soccer, I think, earlier. We were talking about one team not beating the other for 7 years, and we were like, "That is such a long time! Holy cow, 7 years!" And then here we're talking about a team not having a losing season. I mean, that's better than Mike Tomlin going 500 all the
Yeah.
times he's been
I
in
mean,
Pittsburgh. I mean,
that's
that's incredible.
Obviously another great. I mean, right here in Mon County, you have the cross country
Yeah,
dynasties.
UHS. Yeah,
I mean, those
6
are
state
obvi-
titles in a row for the boys team.
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah.
those are obviously very impressive, but I don't think anything touches
Yeah.
the rate of success of Bridgeport.
I'm curious around the country how many programs you could find with 50 years of one losing season. I mean, that'd be hard, right?
It might go back longer than 60 years. I mean, because they had an old coach there, Wayne Jameson, who coached there for literally decades and
Wow.
was a very famous coach during his time, who never had a losing. His worst season was 5-5, and he coached there for like 30, 40 years.
Wow.
And then, of course, after he retired in the late, I want to say the 90s, 1990s, and they've carried on the tradition. They've kind of changed up the offense. Under Wayne, they ran the old butt sniffer offense.
Well, explain that. What is that?
Is that
Well,
kind
that's-
of like the beefcake, or is that?
No,
yeah,
sort of like
is
the
that beefcake formation?
No,
or?
the butt sniffer offense is when you have the quarterback under center and the 3 running backs lined up behind him, with the up back literally having his face mask right up,
In the guy's butt.
almost right up against the quarterback's
Hence
butt.
the butt
Yeah.
sniffer.
Yeah.
And now,
Okay.
he rarely got to carry the ball. He was the lead blocker, and then they would outline you. They would outman you at the line of scrimmage is what they would do.
Yeah.
and that's what they've been. And even now they kind of run pistol,
Got you.
but it's the same theory.
Same concept.
They're going to run the ball. They're going to outman you at the line of scrimmage, and they're going to beat you, 52 to 6.
Maybe the Eagles should just call it that, and everybody will be okay with it. I don't know.
And we have run out of time. Matt, what do you think?
Great show.
Last thoughts? Anything?
Hey, episode 4. I think it's the best work yet since episode 3.
We want to thank Michael Griffith and Spencer Ripchick, both from the Dominion Post, for joining us today. Spoiler alert, we might have a special guest next week. We're still working on that, so I don't want to give away too much on that right now. But for now, hey, Matt, thanks for joining us, and take us home.
Thanks for tuning in to the Extra Medium Sports Podcast, and a special thanks to the Erickson Alumni Center for supporting the show. Select a wedding venue where you can host the perfect ceremony and reception while providing your guests with a caring and comfortable environment. This is the Extra Medium Podcast, where the couches are safe, but the takes are on fire. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again next week.